It's now time to call our meeting of the Bulloch County Board of Commissioners to order. I would like to welcome the media and visitors. I would also like to remind everyone to silence their cell phones and other devices so that we may conduct the people's business without interruption. Commissioner Toby Connor will give the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Father, Lord, thank you for the day that you've given us. Thank you for a place to come to conduct your county's business, Lord. Thank you for the men that sit up on this board, me and the ones that's out there, Lord. Thank you for all the citizens that provide this county and make it up what it is, Lord. I ask you to lead and guide us in everything we do, be an emblem of you. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Miss Robin Holmes Lanier, will you step forward for me? The proclamation is up there. Okay. This is the fun part of this job. So, Miss Robin Holmes Lanier, born in Brooklyn, Georgia, musician, ran an organization called Baby Grand Music, was a graduate of Albany State, all right, okay, and did a lot of work around here in the community for many years. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay. So we just want to say thank you here this morning. And we have this proclamation that we're going to give to you. I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation here, and then we'll get some pictures with you, okay? All right. It says, now therefore be it resolved that the Bulloch County Board of Commissioners of Statesboro, Georgia, recognize and express appreciation on behalf of the citizens of Bulloch County to Miss Robin Holmes Lanier for her many years of artistic contributions, compassion, leadership, and dedication to this community. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the official seal of Bulloch County Board of Commissioners to be affixed this 18th day of March 2025. Let me get the glasses off here. And we've got this proclamation for you here. We'll get a couple pictures.
Right.
Shake your hand.
I'm gonna ask you one favor. Take the top of that and tip it forward a little bit so we don't get the glare. There we go. Couple of them. Commissioners, can we get y'all to stand up while we do this? Just come together this way a little bit.
I usually try to get on the end of
You
it.
fine.
That way we can see everybody as well.
You can get it right here. Let's see. I can see over.
Let's see. Mr. Anthony, if y'all will come this way a little bit, just on the other side of the chairman. Ms. Venus, if you'll come that way just a little bit. There we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you.
Now, I believe there's a gentleman here that you might know that wants to come down here and say a few words too.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave the floor to him.
Thank you.
We want to say congratulations. This
Thank
has
you.
been a long time coming. I want you to say a few words there. Ms. Lanier is instrumental in teaching a lot of students in the African American community, and not only African American community, but this community throughout. And if it wasn't for her leadership and for her diligence, a lot of the churches in this community would be without musicians. And she's touched so many lives in this community, and often embraced students as they went off to college and helped them to excel. Not just make it through, but to excel. And we are so appreciative of what she's done for this community. And this is just a little small token of what it means to us and the appreciation. And I know that Commissioner Simmons also echoes this. I'm going to be quiet and if he has anything to say.
Well, Miss Robin and I go a long way back, a real long way back, and she has, I get echo what Commissioner Mosley has said. Presently, she is teaching my granddaughter piano lessons, and my granddaughter, I think she's an opera pianist now, thanks to her. But she has done great things in this community, and I know she will continue to go on and do great things with children. And we appreciate you and anything that we can do to help you, just let us know.
Thank
You
you.
know where I live.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
And I might add, she is a phenomenal vocalist, but I won't put her on the spot this morning because, like I said, because we haven't discussed that. But if you ever have the opportunity to, I know she's appeared many times in Emma Kelly Theater. So if you have an opportunity to come out here, please do. She is a phenomenal person and singer,
Yeah.
all around
Thank you.
musician.
Not
Thank
like,
you.
Not like me. I can't.
All right, that was all the fun stuff. Let's go home. I kid. Okay. Miss Mitzi White will call the roll of the commissioners.
I, Venus Missy White, present as clerk of the Board of Commissioners of Bulloch County, hereby call the roll for those on the governing body. All those present shall answer by saying aye.
Aye. Oh,
Chairman David Bennett.
aye.
Gotcha. Vice Chairman Toby Connor.
Aye.
Commissioner Ray Mosley.
Aye.
Commissioner Anthony Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Nick Newkirk. Commissioner Timmy Rushing.
Aye.
And Commissioner Ray Davis.
Aye.
I've determined that we have all members of the Board of Commissioners present. Therefore, we have a quorum to conduct the business of the for the good of the citizens of Bulloch County. I now yield the floor back to the chairman.
Thank you. Before I entertain a motion to approve the general agenda, do we have any discussion or modification desired by the county manager or the board? Hearing no discussion, do I have a motion?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor? We have a unanimous decision. Okay. At this time, I will recognize those citizens who have signed up to address the board. Once your name is called, come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and make your comments. All speakers who are recognized will be allotted 5 minutes.
Mr. Keith Hamilton.
My name is Keith Hamilton. My address is 11111 Arcola Road, Brooklet. It is it's a great pleasure to greet you all this morning and to be able to speak to you and share some thoughts. First, I would tell you I very much appreciate the town hall meeting that we had just a few weeks ago. It was very informative as well as in many regards very entertaining, but I encourage you to do it again if you would. The thoughts I want to share with you this morning is I want to support y'all as much as I possibly can, and I appreciate so much of the efforts that y'all are making now dealing with the growth in our county and going through growing pains for sure. And the words that I have for you is infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. I have fussed about roads. I think that our public works department actually does quite a remarkable job with what they're able to do. But I strongly encourage you to look at doing some systematic way of approaching paving roads, especially some of the roads now that become more major thoroughfares. And along with that, of course, comes the drainage. And I know both of those are difficult tasks and they're very expensive. The third thing about infrastructure is I want to specifically address some type of matter of sewage treatment and sewage discharges. My son and I operate a septic services contracting business here in the county. And I want to share with you, I have addressed the county commission on numerous times about this. And this morning, I just want to give you a few details. I know numbers are sometimes hard to digest, but I have canvassed several of the other contractors, both in county and out of county, and I want to share the information I found with you. When I moved back to Bulloch County in 1984, our population was around 32,000 people. And various estimates now, depending on who you look at, say it's somewhere around 90 to 92,000. So in 40 years, our population has tripled. And we know that there are projections, and apparently fairly reliable projections from various sources showing we anticipate in 40 years that's going to double. And I don't know that anybody here can envision a Bulloch County with close to 200,000 permanent residents. But we're told that is our future. Currently, by our best estimates, Bulloch County has 55,000 residential septic tanks. That does not include all of the commercial tanks as well as other applications that are used with some industrial purposes. There are, I don't know if you're aware or not, but Bulloch County averages the last 5 years have averaged 500 new septic tanks per year. And that has put us #1 in the state of Georgia. Bulloch County has actually been the top 2 counties in the state for new septic permits every year for the last 20 years. Effingham County, our neighbor, has been right there with us, neck and neck. And so we are projected very soon to possibly have more septic tanks in the ground than any other county in the entire state of Georgia. Now, there are 7 haulers in the county, and there are at least 9 other haulers from outside the county who are actively servicing and pumping tanks. And all I will say about that is we appreciate the help. We generally work 6 days a week, and there's more than enough work to go around. There is an enormous demand for this. And right now, the 7 in-county servicers are pumping an estimated 1,600 tanks per year. From what I've been able to gather from some of my fellow associates that work in Bulloch County, but they're located primarily in either Bryan or Chatham County, there are 9 of those haulers, and they pump on average about 800 tanks in Bulloch County. So we're around 2,500 tanks a year. When you do the math, that tells us that the tanks on average are only being pumped once every 20 years. But to give you that idea, the average tank that is pumped is 1,000 gallons, and we're pumping 2,400 to 2,500 tanks per year. Now, the part that I specifically call upon you is that over 90% of that is taken outside of the county and disposed of elsewhere. Just about all of the in-county pumpers are going to Metter, and that is purely at Metter's good graces. Portal does take some, but they're very limited, and there are drawbacks on both of those systems that we can talk about some other time. But we will use them as long as we can. Now, a bulk quantity of our septic waste is leaving the county and going to the city of Savannah and to Effingham County. So,
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
all right.
Moving on to our consent agenda. First item on here is to approve the minutes of the town hall meeting held on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Next, approve the minutes for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Approve the executive session minutes from Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Approve payment to Jenkins County Landfill for mulch debris clearing services for the week of February 17th, 2025 through February 21st, 2025 in the amount of $91,009. Approve the payment to Jenkins County Landfill for mulch debris clearing services for the week of February 24th, 2025 through February 26th, 2025 in the amount of $50,715.75. Approve and ratify payment to M.W. Collins for mulch debris clearing services in the amount of $25,320. Approve and ratify payment to M.W. Collins for mulch debris clearing services for February 25th and February 28th, 2025 in the amount of $33,486. Approve and ratify payment to M.W. Collins for mulch debris clearing services for the week of March 3rd, 2025 through March 7th, 2025 in the amount of $37,338. Approve and ratify the payment to J.L. Dariso for hauling services for the week of February 24th, 2025 through February 28th, 2025 in the amount of $15,390. Approve and ratify payment to J.L. Dariso for hauling services for the week of March 3rd, 2025 through March 7th, 2025 in the amount of $15,408.25. Grant a 225 alcoholic beverage license for package and retail beer and wine sales to Noria Energy Retail Incorporated, located at 6640 Highway 67, Brooklet, Georgia, formerly in market number 755 and 17500 Highway 301, North Statesboro, Georgia, formerly in market number 769. Approve entering into negotiations with the most qualified responsive firm for county road right-of-way acquisition services. Approve a bid and enter into contract with Thunder Road LLC for roadway crack sealing on various county roads in the amount of $180,905 to be funded by T-Splost. We can approve these items collectively, or we can move any item to new business for further discussion. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We have a unanimous decision. Moving on to new business. E911 Director, Ms. Kelly Barnard. This is to approve the purchase of a beacon system at Ballpark Radio Tower retrofit in the amount of $30,600.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We were notified a few weeks ago that one of our mid-tower lights had gone out. FAA requires us to have lighting at the top of a tower and at the midway point. We looked at, Mobile Communications is the one who let us know that there was an issue. Asked them to give us pricing. They're our Motorola dealer for our area. They gave me two prices, one being a retrofit, meaning that they're going to continue to use the same cabling up and down. They will just replace the lights that are broken. It'll be a retrofit. The other was a complete replacement. Retrofit was $30,600 and retrofit was more than $60,000, so double the money. Both came with a 5-year warranty. And actually, they recommended that we go with the retrofit because when we pull down the lights that are still working, we can reuse them on any of our other towers if we have the same issue happen. So that is the request is $30,600 for the retrofit for the beacon light system on the Ballpark Road Tower, radio communications tower.
Do you have any questions or discussion at this time? If I do not have any questions or discussion, do we have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous decision.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dink Butler. This is to approve and ratify the use of Sand Creek Land Construction for hauling services for the week of February 24th through February 28th, 2025 in the amount of $16,500 $542.75.
Mr. Chairman, before Mr. Dink starts, I would like to recuse myself on 2 and 3, please.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Commission. Just if anybody has any questions, I'm pretty sure this was strictly because of Commissioner Carter.
Sure. Any questions or discussion? Okay. If we don't have any questions or discussion, do we have a motion? Got a motion from Mr. Rushing and a second from Mr. Simmons. All in favor? We have a unanimous decision there. Moving on to number 3. This is Mr. Butler as well. This is approve and ratify the use of Sand Creek Land Construction for hauling services for the week of March 3rd through March 7th, 2025 in the amount of $21,123. Is there any discussion on this one? If I do not have any discussion, do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We've got a motion from Mr. Simmons and a second from Mr. Davis. Excuse me. All in favor? We have a unanimous decision there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Number 4, Assistant Public Works Director, Mr. Robert Siemens. A motion to accept a bid from Central Fence in the amount of $42,249.
Good morning.
Good
Robert
morning.
Siemens, Assistant Director of Public Works. Before you, we have a recommendation for a motion to accept a bid from Central Fence in the amount of $42,249 to repair storm damage fencing at 14 of our solid waste collection centers. I'll be glad to ask any, I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have on this.
Mr. Robert, we gonna be able to get any of this back?
Yes, sir. This part has been sent in to both insurance and will be a part of the FEMA projects as well. What's not covered on insurance will go into the FEMA pool for reimbursement as well.
And kind of the reason why we got to use contract labor instead of our own for this is because of the FEMA.
Well, this
Correct.
is so extensive here. That we're 14 sites that we do need to put it out for contract to get it done right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Mosley, you look like you.
No.
Okay. Okay. We don't have any questions or comments. Do we have a motion on this?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Got a unanimous decision.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 5. This is going to be Miss Cindy Steinman. Motion to accept a proposal for Proclamation Partners to provide executive recruitment services for the county manager position.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you all are aware, we sent out RFPs, requests for proposals for executive recruitment services for the recruiting of the county manager position. We received 10 submissions on February 20th. The chairman asked me to review all of those and give you all a recommendation. And the thing about this is it's not apples to apples. Every company offers a different type of package. So I went through all of those and provided you with some feedback on that. The one that I think offers the best package is Proclamation Partners. It's a cost of $26,500. It was one of the very few that actually lumped all of the services into one fee. A lot of the other ones had add-ons and all sorts of things attached to it. And if for any reason the county manager does not stay for 12 months, they will search for a replacement for free. And that was also another thing that made them attractive. So I recommend approval of Proclamation Partners. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
I just got one. It looked like they're mostly up in the New York state. Do you think that's going to be an issue down here for the southern
part of the U.S.?
I don't know. I mean, there were some that were in the Atlanta area, but for the most part, any recruitment services are going to be from metro areas. But I don't. I think that now, if you're just looking for an applicant that's in Georgia, then yeah, that will be an issue. But I think you're limiting yourself if that's your only thought process. But
I was just curious. I saw most of the stuff that they did was up north or either out west, and I was just making sure that y'all felt like that was a good fit for South
yeah,
Georgia.
that's normal. That's typical. But they'll come down and they'll spend some time with y'all and get your feedback on what you're looking for and kind of build that profile of that position, and then they'll market that out there all over the place. So.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I will add is that, looking at the packet that he submitted is that he will provide, or this individual, or this company will provide, all the background checks and everything for us. So it saves us a lot of time and labor as far as having to go and do a lot of that research on our own. So.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go through some of my notes here. They'll define the candidate criteria, develop position details, including compensation, develop brochures, strategic marketing, screen the candidates, background checks, credential verification, reference checks, develop evaluation and interview criteria, assist with interviews, and also assist with contract negotiations. So those are some of the things that each firm offered something different. Some didn't participate in interviews at all. Some didn't participate in the contract negotiations. So I thought this was a good package.
Is there any further questions or discussion on this issue? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor? Got a unanimous decision there, Ms. Mincy. Right. Okay. And last issue in new business here, again, is going to be Ms. Steinman. A motion to approve an amendment to the pay plan to include new pay rates for the fire department.
Yes, sir. So as I mentioned to you at the last meeting, you all approved new positions for the fire department. In doing so, I recommended that we take a quick look at firefighter pay so that we can recruit and retain these firefighters. As I mentioned to you several times, the last pay study was done in 2018, and we know that those ranges are probably not competitive anymore, and it's time for an overall pay study. But in the meantime, we did have the company that conducted our last pay study go back and look at just the fire pay. And so what you have before you is the existing fire pay and then the new fire pay based on that study. I did a few comparisons, and it looks like it's roughly maybe 5% change. It's really not as bad as we thought. It is definite that we needed to adjust that, but it still falls pretty closely within the current pay ranges. But the calculations that the CFO, Christy King, had put together was actually at a higher pay. So I think we feel confident that this new pay is feasible and approval is recommended, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have a budget yet figured out with the new pay?
I'll let Christy, you want to respond to that one?
I have some very rough numbers. With the new pay, the new positions would come out to around $2.1 million per year.
Okay.
And then and this is, really very rough because we don't know exactly when all these people are going to start, but I projected maybe a little under 600,000 for the rest of this fiscal year if we hired them all close to April 1st.
Okay. The pay that we get from the fire district, I know it's like 2.5, 2.6, but is that going to cover all the pay plus all the equipment that we have to buy for the firefighters?
I would recommend buying like the turnout gear up front out of SPLOST. And I'm working on kind of a reallocation. We have some interest money that came in that it has to be used for one of the county's SPLOST projects, but we haven't allocated it to a specific project. So I'm working on kind of a reallocation to use those SPOS dollars as well as some of the excess over what was in the referendum for the current SPOS, because we have brought in well over that amount. And so that money can be kind of reallocated because it's excess funds. So I'm working on an exact plan for that, and I don't have it completed yet, but that is the money that I would propose using to buy the initial equipment that they need.
Okay. Did we have any vacancies in the fire department this year to require a pay increase? My concern, I mean, is I love public works, public safety, and I think we need it, but I'm just concerned that we're focusing on the fire department right now. And I think Mr. Dink, I've been coming to the meetings for over a year now, and I've been hearing 13 vacancies for a year now. We haven't done anything for them, and I'm just concerned that we're focusing in on one department, not the people that really need it.
If I may really quick point out, if you want us to study public works separately, we just need that request from you. But this is a discussion about fire department because that was that was the focus at the time. But anytime you want a certain department done, we'll be happy to do that.
Okay. All right.
All right, Ben Tapley, Fire Chief. So your question is, have we had vacancies? Yes, sir. We've had vacancies throughout the year, and we're short one firefighter right now. But obviously, we're going to do a huge class here in the next few weeks. When it goes back to pay, the part about, people that deserve it, I believe my people deserve, more pay. 15, 19 an hour when they can go to Effingham and make 18, 15 an hour starting out certified, and they make 15, 19 a year. We've had comments, we don't want to make other people mad in the county because the fire department's going to get a readjusted pay scale. Well, I can become a EMT and walk in the door and make $18.91 an hour certified. I can become a deputy and be certified and make 19 something dollars an hour. So I'm just asking that our pay be adjusted where we can be competitive with those people around us and those people internally in public safety in Bulloch County.
Okay.
And again, I'll point out, I mentioned in the retreat, and I've mentioned several times, we need to do an updated pay study for the entire county. But this one was a little bit more urgent.
Do we have any other discussion or questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion on this issue. Do I have a second? All in favor? Got a unanimous decision. Moving on to commission and staff comments. Do we have any comments from the staff at this time? Mr. Brad Deal, come on down.
Good morning, Brad Deal, County Engineer. So as we were talking about infrastructure this morning, we have a few updates that we wanted to bring. First, I'll start off with the bridge on Cypress Lake Road at Dry Branch that's currently closed. You all recall that there was an accident on February the 25th that did some damage to the bridge. Initially, we felt that the situation would be similar to what we went through on Aikens Pond Road. I think it was about 2018. We had to close the bridge and do some repairs. It was closed for about 6 months or so, basically. GDOT bridge office came and did a more thorough inspection on the bridge. They get in a boat, go under the bridge, and they can look at a lot of things that we don't have the capability of doing. But the difference is that this bridge had a lot of pre-existing issues before the accident that damaged it. It had it has timber piles that support the bridge. A lot of those were rotten, have decayed over the years. The bridge had an 8-ton weight limit, which is the lowest rated bridge in Bulloch County. So based on the inspections that GDOT did, and they took their data back to the bridge office in Atlanta, they recommended that we get a structural engineer to evaluate the bridge. They couldn't tell us, do X, Y, Z, and you can open the bridge back up. They weren't, comfortable with saying that with all the conditions that the bridge had. So basically, the damage that was done was to some piles that were put in a few years ago to replace the rotten piles that had decayed. And there is a steel beam on top of those piles that got struck by the vehicle. That beam rotated, and now there is not a clear connection to the replacement piles that were put in. I guess I'm just trying to put it in terms that would be easy for everybody to understand. So there's not a good transfer of the weight from the bridge deck to the support piles at this point. That's kind of the issues that we're looking at, and that's why the GDOT is saying, you need to get a bridge engineer to look at it and evaluate, come up with a plan on how to repair it. So we did have some conversations with a bridge engineer that works on a lot of bridges in Georgia. He recommended that, well, I'll just get into an estimate on what it would take. So to rehabilitate the bridge, we're estimating would cost around $500,000 because we would have to go through a full design. GDOT would have to review the design and approve it. And then we would get into the actual work to construct it. And we would also have to put guardrails. As you know, there are no guardrails on that bridge. And we want to bring it up to the correct safety standards. So it would cost about $500,000, take about a year, or I would say probably more than a year to complete that, because you've got to go through the full design and bid it out to a contractor to do the work. Bridge was built in 1970, so theoretically it is at the end of its lifespan. A bridge that has timber supports the way this one does, and they begin to decay, you're kind of getting to the end of the useful life of the bridge. So to do a full bridge replacement, the cost we're looking at is we're estimating about $1.5 million. The difference is the bridge is going to have to be closed for more than likely a couple of years or more to do that. Much longer, time period, but we end up with a bridge that doesn't have weight restrictions on it. We can bring it up to the current safety codes, have have barrier wall on the side, and it'll be I guess if you've seen this bridge, you know how narrow it is. So I guess in summary, what we're saying is that due to the age and condition of this bridge, I don't think, my recommendation is that it's not worthwhile to try to rehabilitate it. It's probably not a good use of funds, and once you do rehabilitate it, it's still going to have a weight limit on it of somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 tons. We have, according to the school board, there's 4 school buses that travel the area, and it is. We also have a solid waste collection center that's just down the road from it, so you have a lot of heavy equipment that would be, typically trying to use the area. So what I'm recommending is that we move into negotiations with the bridge engineer, or a bridge engineer, to look at doing the design on it. We have over the years applied to GDOT for putting it in their bridge replacement program. They have a program called the Low Impact Bridge Replacement Program. We applied for that several years ago. The bridge was not approved for that due to the fact that it has several utility lines on it or nearby. The GDOT also has another program that's called the Local Bridge Replacement Program, but that we did apply for as well. But we feel that it's going to take several years to get anything approved where GDOT would actually move forward with doing it. So I don't think we can afford to wait that long. So my recommendation, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Christy because we just got a lot of this information on Friday. In terms of funding, I do know that we have right now $200,000 in bridge maintenance that would help us to get started with design on it. Then I think after that, we would have to look at shifting some T-SPLOST funds around to pay for the actual construction. Like I say, we're estimating about $1.5 million, but there may be an opportunity, I don't know this for sure, to get some supplemental LMIG funding from GDOT. That's something also that we can pursue to help fund it. But I just don't feel like we can wait for 4 or 5 years for the GDOT bridge replacement program to come along. And I don't think it's feasible to try to repair it and just open it back up to traffic due to the cost and the amount of time that's going to take in itself. So, and we do know that this does create an inconvenience for the public. I think you do have a couple of neighborhoods that are right at the bridge. They primarily, I think, are using Riggs Mill Road to go to Pulaski to get around it. And that's what the school board also indicated to us. That was their route. But it's about 2.5 miles from Cypress Lake Road to Pulaski Road on Old Riggs Mill Road. But that's kind of, I guess in summary, I'm just recommending that we move ahead with like a full bridge replacement, and just wanted to see if you all had any questions, concerns, or wanted to go in a different direction other than that. But
Brad, when was it that they replaced? There's a bridge right up from it. Oh, they replaced a no weight limit bridge. How long ago has it been, to say? Because that bridge, the one you're talking about now, and Cypress Lake Bridge, is all the same age.
right there, the bridge at Watering Hole Court, which is not very far down the road. I don't have the exact date, but it was roughly 10 years ago when that bridge was replaced. And like I say, this particular bridge was built in 1970. And with the timber supports, like I say, it is probably at the end of its, or getting close. It's on the tail end of its useful life.
I'm surprised that lasted as long as it did. It's been hit about 20 times in my life.
Right.
I remember when we placed the watering hole or whatever it is bridge, and it probably was 10 to 15 years ago, I think.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
Did you say replacement would be 15 tons, 30,000 pounds?
Yeah, that's our estimate, is we could get it back up to a 15-ton capacity, and that's about probably the best we could do.
What would a new one be, the weight limit?
I believe it would probably be, there would probably not be a weight limit on it, or it wouldn't be posted for a weight limit. So.
Farm equipment will exceed the 15 ton, 30,000 ton.
I do believe you are correct. Yes, sir.
And Commissioner Davis, the one I talked about, it got replaced. It's no weight limit. So if you're going to have 1.5 mile from another, no weight limit, and then a 15-ton weight limit, I think they need to match if we can get them to match. Because like Mr. Davis said, and then people go across it, it's had dump trucks on it for the last 20 years out of my brother's dirt pit and the county's dirt pit. The county's got a dirt pit there too. So if it's going, there's a lot of big trucks go across it.
So if we pursue this as far as replacement, what do we need to do?
I think the next step should be engineering department. We have had contact with a engineering firm that does a lot of bridge work, and I think we move forward with negotiating with them on beginning design work on it. There's a lot of work that goes into that. They have to do geotechnical investigation to look at the support in the creek bed, and there's environmental permits you've got to go through. And I think in the essence of time, going ahead and beginning negotiations with them to get them and bring a contract proposal back to you all for approval, so that they can get moving on that. I think that would be the best way to go, because obviously it's going to be closed till we do something with it.
Any feedback from the commission?
We need to get moving as soon as possible.
Yeah. Do we need a motion on this, or?
I guess the main thing, the funding, is that going to be, or we have T-Splosh
We
and
have
all that stuff,
T-Splosh,
so that won't be an issue there.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay. That's my main concern, but I'm ready to make a motion to proceed.
Second.
All in favor?
And just moving, I guess, very quickly into other updates. I don't know if Ron Nelson, assistant county engineer, I might let him give a quick update on Neville's Denmark Road, which is one of the big drainage issues that we've been working on since the storm, or tropical storm Debbie, I should say.
Thank you, Brad.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Nelson, County Engineering. So since last August, Hurricane Debbie came through, a tropical storm Debbie, had severe damage on Neville's Denmark Road, y'all aware of. And we appreciate y'all moving forward and quickly in September. approved a firm to move through with design of a new drainage structure. Pleased to report that the hydraulics and hydrology study, as we've been engaged with FEMA since last November, it was approved last week on March the 12th. We also started with our procurement officer here with the county, Ms. Faye Bragg. We started our procurement last Thursday with an advertisement to get a contractor, and we are moving towards bids being open next Thursday, the 27th, and we anticipate about a 120-day schedule. So as we move through and open the bids next week, we'll take the better part of April, because we'll have to come back before the commission to approve that cost for that contract, and we'll issue notice to proceed in early May and anticipate the culvert to be completed and have the bridge back open, the roadway back open to traffic in late summer. So that's what we're anticipating. Any questions?
Appreciate that update. I know there's a lot of folks down there in the Neville's community that are anxiously awaiting the reopening of that road. So.
Understand. Thank you, sir.
And just very quickly, I'll add, we have a few others that we're working on. So, there's a area on Country Club Road that was damaged during Debbie, and then G.W. Oliver Road is another one. And so we have had some engagement with FEMA to discuss those areas, and then we've also had the meeting that Corey Kemp, the EMA director, set up with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers last week. So we're applying for them to do some drainage analysis for the whole, I guess basically the whole drainage basin, that whole area that influences the creeks that run through there. But so I guess we're at a point where we're kind of evaluating our options. We put our first initial focus on Neville's Denmark because I think it had the biggest effect on the traveling public. But we do still have those other issues that we've got to work through. We don't have a drainage analysis done on those yet, and we don't have a design for what's going to take place. To be honest, G.W. Oliver Road is very interesting. It almost, if anybody's seen it, it basically needs a bridge, but due to the amount of water that goes through there. But we're kind of still evaluating the options on that and figure out the best way to treat it. But if you have any questions, though, let me know.
Have we had the meeting with FEMA to look at the bridges? I know last week y'all had not yet. Is that on the books yet, or what's the status of that?
I think that they haven't actually scheduled a site visit yet, have they? So we've been requesting it, I guess, for quite a while, but no, they have not been to the site to look at it yet. And I think they really haven't set a date on it yet, to my knowledge. Yep.
Brad, could you give just a very quick update? Ms. Eason has been reaching out, but she's probably listening. So could you just give a quick update?
Sure. And that's Old Happy Road. Yes. So on today's agenda, well, really on Old Happy Road, we've got a preliminary design that's complete. So it's at the point where we can start acquiring right away. So on today's agenda, we did have approval to begin negotiations with right-of-way acquisition firm. So that firm is going to essentially take care of, theoretically, once we get them under contract, their job is going to be to acquire all the right-of-way, and that would be from start to finish. Even if some of the property owners don't sign the deeds, they have in their contract the ability to do appraisals and go through the negotiations and get us all the way to the end. And there is a lot of property on that road, or a lot of property owners, so it is going to take a little bit of time to do that. And of course, we have some other projects in place that we've got to get the right of way on as well. I think Hightower Road and Josh Smith is also high on that list. And basically, we're going to have a lot for them to do once we get them under contract. But yes, we're ready to move in the right of way on it. And I did actually had a conversation with Miss Eason last night. So
And very quickly on Aiken Ponds, I know Nelson gave me a little bit of update, but just for those who are listening.
Yes. So Akins Pond Road at Highway 80, we do have the approved traffic signal permit. We just don't have an exact timeline from GDOT yet on. I think one of the options they were considering was to move forward and they would install the traffic signal themselves using their own personnel. We don't have a timeline on that yet, but we do believe within the next year that should be taking place. It does take time for them to get the equipment and install the poles and that type of thing. If they did come back to the county and say, they wanted us to manage it in the way that we did Cypress Lake Road at the bypass, we do have funds. We do have county funds budgeted for the intersection, so we'd be able to use that to step in and help if needed. So, anything I missed on that as far as the timeline? So, yeah.
Thank you.
So it is planned to go forward. So, yeah.
Mr. Davis, go ahead.
We had some help on moving some dirt from private people to cover up some sewer pipes. I forget the name of it. Mr. Russian can identify it, but have you got any progress on that?
He's talking about Deacle Road there, I believe.
Oh, Deacle Road.
And I think some of the local people around there went and put some dirt on just where they could cross personally. I thought Dink could probably answer that question for you, but my understanding, I think, is Dink in it? I think they just got the pipes in. Dink, would you come up and discuss Deacle Road and when you think y'all will start? They may be unstarted on it. It's pretty close. Is that the road you're talking about? Yeah, that's right.
Deacle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we're waiting on the pipes. And then
Yeah, right now we're waiting on the pipe delivery. It's supposed to be before the end of the month to get those delivered to the site. We may, sometime within the next week or so, as weather permits, start the dirt work on the road itself to get to that location from both sides, and then be ready when the pipe gets here to shut the road down completely and replace the pipes and bring that up to the standard that engineering and I have talked about, and y'all have seen the proposals on, as far as putting some concrete head walls on each side. You want the pipes installed to kind of stabilize that, and hopefully we can prevent the pipe damage in the future. They may eventually, depending on rain events, cause some road damage on each side of the pipes, which would just basically be dirt replacement in the future if that happens. So that's where we're at with that. We just finished, just for additional information, we just finished Aiden Lanier Road upgrades this past week. We ended up putting, replacing pipe there, and I think we put close to 450 loads of dirt in that location, and that's a lot of this contract labor that's helping us move some dirt. If we had to do that with our 4 or 5 dump trucks, it would have taken much longer. So, thank you.
Any other staff comments?
Thank y'all. Dink Butler, Public Works Director. And I just wanted to address, Miss Cindy had mentioned the fact that we'd probably need to do a pay study over the board for everybody. Commissioner Newkirk, thank you for mentioning Public Works and the fact that we've been talking about how shorthanded we are for so long. We have been blessed lately to pick up a few positions. We are down to 10 full-time positions open and 4 part-times. So we know the struggles that we're going through trying to get the help to be able to give the services and the maintenance level that citizens need for our roads. If that's something that would be of interest to y'all, it would be greatly appreciated if you want to request that. Thank you.
Any commissioner comments?
Mr. Chairman, I do have some comments about what Mr. Hamilton was speaking about. And I know Mr. Hamilton real well. I'm one of the people he was talking about with a pumping company, just like he's got an installation company, which I have given to my daughter and son-in-law at this point in time. But I'm still licensed. And that is a elephant in the room that is invisible to everybody, because when they flush their commode, it's gone. It's out of their mind. They don't have a clue, most people, what's going on. And every commissioner, I'm pretty sure, at this dais up here operates off of a septic tank. And I'm pretty sure Miss Barr with the city council, I'm pretty sure she's on the septic tank inside the city limits. So it's not just the county, it's the city too. And several years ago, the city, because it's such a shock to a wastewater plant, because it's concentrated when we pump it, that a wastewater plant, if they're not set up for it, long and short, the city got to where there was so much going on, they couldn't accept it anymore. Now, the things people don't understand is when you have problems with your septic tank, well, you start having during the year, but it don't matter. There's nobody living there but y'all. And then you invite somebody over from Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Our trucks will run just about 24 hours a day if we got people that can drive them that long. We can just run them into the ground. But your problem is not having nowhere to go with the waste. If you have a resident that has a problem with their septic tank, their neighbor calls. Worse in subdivisions and out in the rural areas, because your neighbors don't call out in the rural area because you don't live really that close to anybody. Subdivisions, the majority of them run off of septic tanks. The neighbor calls because of the smell and because children playing in it. No, they call the health department. The health department comes out and tells them they got to get it fixed. They contact one of the people that fix them. Well, everybody knows it's the rainy part of the year. Anytime through Thanksgiving, all the way through the new year. It's winter time. The trees ain't taking up no water. I mean, everything's dormant. Well, we just get overwhelmed, and you start hauling it. And no county wants your waste. We don't want Bryan County's. Bryan don't want ours. County, Evans, they'll ask you and make you got to fill out paperwork stating the address of where it come from. Now, I don't mind telling you, sometimes that forces the man into telling a lie. I mean, you'll put an address. I mean, you got to do something with it, because you can't pump it out on the ground, because if you do, you're going to wind up with a citation that you're going to be in front of the magistrate's court. But then the magistrate's court recourse is Bulloch County has nowhere to take the wastewater. So how you going to find somebody for something that you don't supply? So it's just a round and around in a circle. It's been talked about so many times, but I know we all pressed today because we got to go to budget meetings all day like we were yesterday. And had I known Mr. Hamilton was coming instead of his 5 minutes, and I'm not going to ask him to come up here and throw everybody behind, but I would like to ask him, because he's done a lot of research that I can tell, and I had no idea that he had all the numbers with him. But I would like for him to come back with a presentation at our next morning meeting, if you would, to discuss it, if you don't mind. All right, if you would put him down for, he'll have y'all a presentation next. Y'all want to do it on morning meeting, I feel sure.
That's
If you
that's
would.
totally up to y'all. Miss Mincy White can work with him to get anything coordinated and
Okay,
scheduled.
but he'll have a lot of information, I can tell, that y'all would like to have, because it is going to become a problem. I mean, we got, I don't know, because of this water sewer thing going on in the county, we've heard from the professionals, you're talking about 30 with wastewater, you're talking about $30 a gallon. If you put in a 1 million gallon treatment plant, we're talking about $30 million. There's other ways we can go, but it's got to be discussed, because I think with the going by the plans, I think we got like 43 houses that will be built out in Bulloch County in the next few years. James Pope, I think that was the number he gave me, right, James? 4,300 more that you can add to your sheet that you ain't got. And they gonna have problems. They man-made. They will have problems. That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to take this opportunity to tell you and fellow commissioners and many in the audience, I appreciate you reaching out to me during the passing of my sister, and it meant a lot. And so I say thank you from the Mosley family.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to send a bit of gratitude to Engineer Brad Deal for his service for this county and dealing with the public and doing the best he could. You know, he never always had every answer, but he'd be back with you in just a little bit with one, or the best one he could come up with. I appreciate his time here, and I wish him nothing but the best where he's headed.
Any other comments from the commissioners or staff? Well, just to wrap this up, I just want to remind everybody that after our meeting today, we will be going back over to the Bishop Center at the at Georgia Southern over at the stadium to wrap up our budget retreat this afternoon. It is open to the public. I would encourage everybody to come out. It was very informative yesterday. I think we went through just about all the public safety folks yesterday. We'll be going through Public Works and the rest of the county today. Just to want to open that up to you, invite you all to come out and come learn with us. Along those same lines, today is referendum day in Bulloch County. I want to encourage you, if you haven't voted already, today is your last opportunity to vote in the SPLOST. As I've said before, many people have sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears for you to have the opportunity to go out and vote. Please take this opportunity if you haven't already and you are eligible to vote in Bulloch County to make your voice known. All the voting precincts in the county are open. You can vote at your regular precinct. So with that, I think that's everything that we have. We are about to go into executive session. There will not be any action taken after executive session today. This will conclude our meeting for the public. So with that, I must now call for a motion to adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of OCGA 50-14-3B2 and other applicable laws pursuant to the advice of County Attorney Jeff Akins for the purpose of discussing personnel. Do I have a second? All in favor?